Welcome to the Network Build Grow podcast, the show where business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals share their stories, lessons learned, and powerful strategies for building relationships and growing their circle of influence. With Melissa Taylor, your host, each week we'll bring you actionable insights to help you build a better network and a better business. Let's dive in.
We are here today with Ragi. How are you today?
I'm doing fabulous. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
That's so great. I was trying to remember when we met. I think it's been about a year ago. Is that correct?
At least, yeah.
Yeah, at least something like that. Well, welcome to the podcast. And you've been a member of Network Build Grow for a while, but tell everybody kind of exactly what you do, because I know you're a CPA, but you're so much more than that. So explain your business to us.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I just want to briefly share my story, very briefly.
Sure.
So just for those who don't know me, my name is Ragi Riad. I'm a CPA, the founder of Riad CPA PC. I grew up in Egypt and I moved to the States at the age of 19 by myself. I kind of struggled. I went through a lot of struggle. And the reason I'm saying all this is because I want to kind of help business owners understand that if I am today who I am, it's not because it was easy path. It's very, strenuous, and it was a lot of struggles and obstacles along the way. But to talk a little bit about my business and about me, actually, that's actually any business is the business owner themselves, right? So I love what I do. I really want to be their advocate for business owners. I want to be the coach, the mentor. So I'm not a transactional CPA at all, by all means. I want to work with clients to really give them clarity and confidence about their finances. So the ultimate goal is for them to thrive in their lives. Really, that's my goal. And I love what I do, and I do what I love. And I really want to take this opportunity to thank you, Melissa, for allowing me to be on your podcast. And I'm enjoying every second of it as of now. Yeah.
That's so great. Well, I will tell you that every time I hear you talk, it is very obvious that you love what you do. And it's also very obvious that you go that extra step. You're not just a numbers guy. You're not just the guy who does the taxes. You actually help the business owners understand their finances, their numbers. Why do you think that is so important for business owners to understand?
Well, let me just back up one bit. Along with this comes accountability, right? So that's another area that I'm trying to focus on with my clients, allowing them to be accountable to me, right? So when they are doing their finances, they have to have a kind of a clarity again and confidence in where they stand, because unfortunately, a lot of business owners know exactly what they want to accomplish, but the path to getting there, it's almost like obscure, right? So really helping them understand that I come alongside and help them. So I talk a lot about tax savings, but it's not ultimately just about tax savings. Again, seeing the big picture. And as you've heard me probably several times talking about me being a behavioral tax strategist. So what is the reason behind what you're doing and why you're spending the money where you're spending the money?
Yeah, that's really important to know. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could tell you just off the top of my head what my income and expenses are, at this time, the end of first quarter, so to speak. And that's probably not a good place to be.
Yeah, but let me add one more thing. So I help clients look at their expenses, because I even see it in my own life, that I'm sure you've heard this so many times, like how many dues and subscriptions you have on a monthly basis that have been occurring for years. And, you're probably not using them at all. That could mount up to thousands of dollars a year that you can basically put back in your pocket without even talking about any tax strategies.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Very true. Because those little guys will sneak up on you. Yeah, those free trials that you forgot to cancel, all those different things definitely add up. But, there are tools that we need in our business, but we need to make sure we're using the right tools. We're not duplicating tools.
Very much.
And all of those things. That's great. So what inspired you to be a CPA?
Yeah, that's a great question. So being a CPA was kind of a given going back to Egypt. That's based on your high school grade. You're going to be kind of landing in the school that is basically based on your high school again. But when I moved here, I started over, and I'll be very frank and honest with you. At first, I didn't have much drive, but looking back now, right, 25 years later, I really enjoy what I do. So maybe that's a word of advice for, business owners. Sometimes you can start something maybe that you're not completely passionate about, But if you're good at it, maybe take that step of faith and do it. And maybe that's the right path. But that's kind of where I'm at. I love what I do now, but the beginning was not as you would, it wasn't as rosy as you would hope, right?
You didn't grow up with a calculator in front of you and pencils and doing all the CPA stuff.
So let me tell you, actually, I grew up wanting to be an FBI director and agent, if you would believe that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
so it has that investigation. It has that investigation mindset.
That's what I was just going to say. It's very detail oriented, investigation, uncovering, figuring things out.
Yeah.
Kind of that deductive critical thinking.
Yeah.
So that kind of does make sense. So you mentioned you have to take a leap of faith. You have to step out into faith. And I know faith plays a big part in your business. Talk to us about that.
So again, in 2003, I was basically let go of the CPA firm that I was working at. And at that time, I was like in a crossroad. Do I continue on? Do I completely shift gears and work something else? And, a lot of people think of it as either bad luck or a coincidence that I was let go, but I see it as a God's providence. That's how I see it. And as you shared, really faith is a big, big aspect of my business. So, it wasn't an easy path. Worked out of my garage, filing tax returns, but maybe a word of advice for business owners as well. Sometimes you need to humble yourself. You don't have to go all in the business. You might need to still do some contract work at first. And that's what I did for about 3 years. So when I started my business, I wasn't just all in. I kind of slowly and gradually moved away from being contracting with somebody else to really doing my business. So it took me about 3 years. And again, everybody's journey is different. I'm not saying this is the path for everybody, but be open to ideas of still contracting with other professionals while you build your business.
Now, talk to me about building your business. How has networking been a part of that?
Oh, it's been amazing. And, network, build, grow for sure has been tremendous help for me in the aspect of it's not just exchanging business cards, but in the aspect of building relationships. And I have a quick story for you to share. It's really, you hear that saying, it's not just about what you know, but who you know. So I had one of the members of Network Build Grow. What happened is I was trying to reach out to a particular organization for a couple of years, emails and phone calls, and I could not get back any response from them. I connected with this member believe me, within 10 minutes, I got connected with this organization, and hopefully, God willing, I'll be in front of tens and hundreds of business owners as we grow together and collaborate. So it's really about the network. It's about the relationship. It's about really getting to know the person versus just exchanging business cards.
Yeah, it absolutely can make a huge difference. So do you do mostly networking as your primary marketing strategy, or do you have other marketing arms in your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. So quickly, my journey had been for 2017, 2018, there was a platform that I used that really helped my business. And then that kind of faded away, and God right away knew that this is going to fade away. So he provided another platform for like 2019, 2020. And that as well kind of faded away at that time. And at that time, I had already established a good sized business. And again, sometimes networking is not necessarily, and if you go just with the mindset of getting clients, you could be in trouble. It's about trying to add value to the people that you meet with as well. So it's not just about you getting referrals, but you really being a connector and collaborator and a helper for, active listener to others.
Yeah. That is a big part of networking that a lot of people forget. It's just add value to the networking group.
Yeah, if I may interject, the mastermind as well in Network Build Grow has been outstanding. Honestly, I've been learning a lot, and even you yourself had shared a couple of notes with me one time, and I've been actually applying them. And that's another area too. A lot of times if you hear, and I shared this probably in one of the networking group, if you just hear a lot of information without implementing them, then that could actually be more of a curse than a blessing. So you really have to learn how to implement what you learn.
Yeah, that is very true. And I know that there are a lot of networking groups out there that provide speakers or information. But again, if you just go and listen, it doesn't really do you or your business any good. You have to, take it to heart and apply it.
Let me introduce you to the Speaker League, where great leaders are made. It's a community built around world-class speakers, real training, and the kind of opportunities that put you in front of a room and dare you to own it. everything you need to go from good to unforgettable. Train, speak, win. The stage is yours. Your voice, your moment, your stage. Join now at thespeakerleague.com.
Let's do some rapid fire networking questions. So first thing that pops into your mind, what do you think is a common mistake that some people make when they're at an event or on even an online networking event?
So let me share three, and that's a great question. Again, because, and I say this, but you really have to be intentional about every meeting and every room that you're in, right? It's intentionality. And so I see three common mistakes that I might have actually done some of them. One of them is sell, and then sell some more, right? So you're just selling your business and your services without really getting to know the person or the person knowing you, right? And along with this is talking too much. I've had it done to me, and it's unfortunate because the person is just talking, and by the time you're talking, you're already exuded all your energy in listening. So, but then it's actually interesting enough. There is a third one that maybe not too many people talk about, is talking too little or if any. Right. And I know introverted people could have a little bit of problem with that, maybe. But again, it's being strategic about what you say, because it's not just about the words you say, but sometimes just saying one thing that resonates with people. So it's about what you say, not just how much you talk.
No, that's a really good point. That's a really good point, because sometimes we go to these, we call them huddles, as you know, and it's a great opportunity to share your own thoughts, your own thought leadership when other people ask questions and you can help out. And when you help out, that's really good. But some people just sit there and never say anything. And so it's hard for us to get to know those people when they just sit there and not talk much.
It's true.
So it's very good. Okay, another one for you. How do you add value to your circle of influence?
Like people that I know or that I don't know?
Yeah, people that you are getting to know, people that are, you've met them a couple of times, maybe at an event, and you're staying in touch with them. Like, what do you do to kind of add value to them so that you can grow that relationship?
So let me share something that God had put before me that I do, not expecting anything in return. So I'm not sure if that kind of pertains to the question. Can I answer this pertaining to something that might not return anything for me?
Sure.
So I'm looking at it where I would like to meet with, and I'm an accountant, right? So like the month of May, I want to meet with 5 business owners and just get, providing some insight and advice. Knowing that some of those business owners might never turn to clients, I'm still okay with that. So really kind of offering not a service, but offering your insight, your advice, your help, and kind of ascertaining along the way and assuring them that I've been there and I'm still there. We're all in the journey of, growth and impact and success. So that's one area. Again, the month of June, it's going to be 6 business owners. And thank God for the month of May. I already booked my 5 appointments. So I'm very glad.
Good.
Yeah. But another area is really being a collaborator, being a connector. And thankfully, I have a network of, other CPAs as well. So, for example, if somebody needs a service that I can do for them, so I really would like to help them find somebody else who would. So being a connector, not always like kind of hoarding businesses, but being a giver. And, God loves a cheerful giver in a sense. So just being of availability to others all the time.
Yeah, being available to others is vital. That makes you approachable. When we talk about an approachability factor, and if you're not talking and you're not giving, you're not being available to others, you're not giving insights, it just makes you a little less approachable.
Yeah, it's very good.
Which is really good. Yeah. All right. So how do you keep track? You go to these events and you might meet 5, you might meet 10, go to another event in a few weeks, you meet 5 or 10 more people. How do you keep track of all of it?
That's a great question. And if I may say that, I don't know how to word it in a nice way, because not every business card that you get requires a follow-up, right? If you know what I'm saying. I mean, hopefully you're only getting business cards from people that you see potential collaboration or partnership, but that doesn't always happen, right? So to answer your question is, yeah, if I see collaboration either way or reciprocity, that I can offer value as well, and I can offer that. So I do have like two jars,
Mhm.
one for business cards that I've already reached out to, following up through emails and texts. Usually I prefer this way. I
Mhm.
know phone calls might be the best, but I know everybody's extremely busy, and sometimes just kind of getting a text or an email from myself to them would be a good starter. So
Mhm.
two jars, one with business cards that I had already followed up, and then I'll write the date on it, and then the second one is people that I still need to follow up. And I do have a system online too, not any particular app, but I do have a system, kind of a primitive system. It's working for me for now because yeah, I and going back to your point, networking is great to getting to know people and collaborate, but
Mhm.
sometimes to be able to acquire more business and generate revenue, you need to have the systems in place and you have to have the people in place to help you. So I'm
Mhm.
working on both of them simultaneously, if you know what I'm saying.
That's great. No, that's great. Okay. One more question for you. What is your number one tip for someone who is just getting into the networking world? They're just starting kind of to build their network. What is a really good best practice?
Yeah. Um, just going. Okay. This is hard because let me tell you something. When you are just starting a business, well, that's starting a network, but let's say you're starting a business and you're starting network. So that makes it a double-edged sword because it is a struggle because
Mhm.
people want to go and yes, they want to connect and they want to get to know the people, but ultimately they want more business, right?
Mhm.
So be careful with that. Like go with the intention of still being an active listener, being someone who wants to build a relationship, and you ought to be careful with something. I heard this a long time ago and it kind of stuck with me.
Mhm.
Sometimes networking becomes not working, right? So you
Yeah.
really have to find the balance between getting yourself in the right rooms. And I think that's the real key is when
Mhm.
you network, you don't just get into any room with any group, 20 meetings a day because the follow-up is or 20 meetings a week, it's going to be hard to follow up. So make
Mhm.
sure you're active listeners still in those meetings. Make sure you want to add value to the people that you talk to and make sure to be in the right rooms.
Yeah. How do you think people could determine like which networking groups are for them? Like going once probably isn't enough, but like how many times do you have to go to a particular group to kind of see if there's a good fit, a good feel?
Going back to that, that's a great question. It's really it goes back to your mindset or your intentionality of going. Like again, what
Mhm.
was the purpose of going? Like for example, I go to some groups just for the mere fact of learning from other people, right?
Mhm.
You go to other groups because you want to build relationships and you want to kind of be of value. So the question is how many, it takes time, right? And again, it
Yeah.
depends on the person. If someone is not really willing to be open to sharing, then it's going to take longer. If someone is kind of right off the bat is someone who is talkative and really listening, active listener, they
Mhm.
might be quicker. So I don't know if there is a formula to this, but
Yeah.
yeah, what do you think? That's a great question to you.
Yeah, I think it takes a few times. I mean, I think I agree with you. You go to different groups for different reasons. You might go to an industry specific group, like a CPA group in your case, just to build relationships with other CPAs for spillover or things they don't do that you do, things they do that you don't do. You may go to a group like Network Build Grow where you're doing professional development.
Yeah.
And then you might go, some people even like speed networking because they just want to they just want to meet a whole bunch of people so they can kind of weed through a few and get to some
Mm.
possible, connections. So I think it depends on the group. But I do think that you have to give a group 2 or 3 times before you just say, nope,
Oh,
not for me.
oh
Because
yeah.
everybody in the room could have been having a bad day, right? So you just have to, give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it depends. But okay, one other thing. When you do find, we don't like to go to networking events with that sales hat on, right? We're not prospecting, it's not transactional. But when you do find someone, you are listening to somebody, you're talking to someone, you're like, you know what? I really feel like this could be a client. How do you take those next steps without like, pouncing on them and making them feel like they're being sold to right away?
Yeah, so it could take two forms. One of which, like I shared earlier, is like okay, I'm offering a complimentary 15-minute discovery call. Let's get
Mhm.
on a call. that's kind of the number one that I do. Just make them see what I offer and who I am and how I can really approach their situation. So that's kind of the number one. And again, if I see not resentment, but if I see that no, they're okay, because honestly, if you think about it, my business, and I always tell clients, I'm very proud of you, because you're basically giving your finances away to someone that you might have known for a while, or you might have just recently met. So it is, I do understand where the clients are coming from, having to hand your bank statements, your finances, your credit card, or your, what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's why it's kind of a both ways. So I don't like someone to approach me with that mindset, like, okay, sell, or like very aggressive with me. And that's how I treat others, because I don't want to be treated this way. So I'm extremely kind of casual when it comes to that. And I'll tell you quick stories that I connected with someone, had that 15-minute discovery call, and believe it or not, 2 years later, they come back and they are working with me. So sometimes it takes a long time. It takes a long time. Sometimes.
Yeah. And you just got to stay in touch.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just got to stay in touch. Exactly. Yeah. Well, any parting thoughts, words of wisdom for us as we head off for the rest of our days?
So real quick, back to business ownership, because that's what I focus on. I want to advise business owners not to give up. Again, my story is different than yours. My challenges and struggles are different than yours. But if I've gone through a lot of struggles and challenges and obstacles, and they became opportunity, I really encourage business owners to keep pursuing. But very importantly, partner with people, collaborate, and surround yourself. I keep saying it, with wise people that want your success. That's my big word of advice for everybody.
Yeah. Surround yourself with people that want to see you succeed. Not just themselves, but they want to see you succeed.
Very important. Honestly, Network Build Grow is like that. So thank you. Thanks, Melissa.
That's great. Well, thank you for being with me today. This has been a great conversation.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Melissa. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Network Build Grow podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow entrepreneur or professional. And of course, if you're not yet part of our community, visit networkbuildgrow.com to connect with us. Until next time, keep building and keep growing.